Okay, so I want to talk to you guys today about one of my side hustles, Turo. So I just left the parking ride. So what I do is park a couple of my cars at the parking ride, and I meet the guests there to exchange keys with them. Um, and then I come back and pick the car up and check it out. So if you guys don't know about Turo, I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. So this was a side hustle I started a couple of years ago, and it was really slow at first, and I didn't like it at first. I quit for a while, and then I started back. So Turo is like a car sharing app. So guests can go on there and book a car, and then you can go on there and be a person that shares your car. Um, so when you're sharing your car, you make a certain amount of money a day. You can set your own prices, but Turo will give you suggestions of what prices that will get your car booked. And trust me, you want to have your car booked if you're trying to make money. So my goal is usually to have my car booked at least 20 days out of the week. 20 days out of the month. And if it's booked for 20 days out of the month, so let's just say you're charging $65 a day, right? And so when you book the car, Turo gets their cut, and that depends on what type of plan you're on. You can be on a 90-10 where Turo gets 10%, you get 90%. But I'm on the 75-25 plan, which means that Turo gets 25% and I get 75%. And I do that because with the 75-25 plan, I then can, if there's an accident or something happens, then I will only have to pay a $500 deductible. So it kind of goes from there. If you're on the 80 plan or the 90% plan, you're getting more of your money, but if something happens, then you'll have to pay a much larger deductible in order for Turo to pay for your car to be fixed. So it's a pretty good side hustle for me. So if, like, back to my scenario, if you were charging $65 a day, and let's just say Turo got $15 or $20, and you're making about $50 a day, let's just say. So if it's gone 20 days out of the month, then you're making $1,000. So most cars, or most of the cars that I've had, made between $900 to about $1,100 a month. And so the more cars you have, obviously the more money you'll make. But you do, like I said, Turo has a fee that you have to give them. Then you have to keep the car clean, so you have to pay for car washes, vacuuming. Then you have to, meet the guests. And you don't have to meet the guests. I'm choosing at this point to meet the guests, but you don't necessarily have to meet the guests, because you can get a lockbox and basically put that lockbox on your car, and then you can text the guest and just give them the code. Once they open up the code, the key pops out and they're on their way, and then they can return the car, put the key back in that lockbox. So I recently just set that up, so my next trip I will be doing the lockbox method. And so that will be more easier for me. So it's kind of semi-passive income, because it's not completely passive, but it is semi-passive income. The only thing is getting started, and I mean, there's a couple of different ways to get started. You can just go and buy a car and pay cash for it, or you can go and finance the car. But there's pros and cons to both. So let's just say, so when I first started a couple of years ago, I went and bought 2 cars, paid cash for them, to get it started. But the problem with that was I didn't buy the right car. So that's another thing. You have to know a little bit about cars before you're going to buy them, because I had a lot of problems with those cars mechanically. And that's one issue you don't want to have. So when you have a car that needs a lot of maintenance, then that's cutting into your profit. But the cars wasn't very expensive. They were like a $6,000 car, $5,000 car. This time, I'm looking paying more like $10,000 or $11,000 for a car, and it's true. I've had less issues with those cars. But it depends on how fast you want to scale. So if you want to scale really fast, I guess you could go and finance a couple of cars. But then you have to consider that you have to pay the car note, the insurance, and then try to make sure your car is out and booked so you can make that money back to pay your car note and the insurance, and then have a little bit of profit for yourself. But in a sense, it's almost like having rental income. It depends on how many doors you have in rental income, and it depends on how much you're renting it out for. So I like Turo a little bit more than my rental income, because it costs less to get started, versus going out and buying a building for $200,000 and then having to make the mortgage on that. And then you have tenants, and then sometimes things go wrong where they don't want to pay their rent or whatever the issue is. Then things break down and you have to fix those things up. So this one is just a lot more manageable for me. So if you liked this video, drop down in the comments and let me know. If you have any questions about Turo, drop down in the comments and with your questions, and I'll answer them as soon as I can. Thanks.